First, I want to say thanks to everyone for taking the opportunity to be here with us today on our second virtual tour. Considering the honor and the privilege to hang out with great people that's doing great things. And Tammy and I, came up with an idea to just, really just come together with some people we've connected with that are authors to just highlight them and show appreciation for them, and in hopes that hey, Julie Nee, in hopes that we can share and, like I said, highlight each other and just build more connections. And really, that's what it's all about. A quote that was on my heart today, I wanted to make sure I share it with you guys, is from one of my former pastors about relationships. Said that our life moves at the speed of our relationships. And so for me, this is perfect opportunity to build on that and connect with some great like-minded, like-hearted people. So Tammy, I'll give it to you and then we'll get it rolling.
All right. Thanks for sharing that, Chip. We're glad to have everybody here today. It is being recorded. I know some people have said they couldn't make it, but please feel free to interact with the authors in chat box or ask a question. And hopefully you'll be enriched as I have by getting to know each one of them.
That's it. Well, we'll go ahead and get rolling. So the first, who's that? What? Oh, wait a minute. All right, so the first guy that's going up is yours truly, Chip Baker. And my book, guys, is The Formula Chart for Life. And just a little bit about that and where it's coming from is, growing up, I struggled with math. Each level, I had some major issues with math. I really worked hard. My mom made sure I did that. But really had some struggles with math. Even in college, got to college, man, I don't really know if I passed my required classes. I think they just passed me because they were tired of me hounding them and asking them questions. They wanted to get rid of me. But then, fast forward a few years into my career, I got the opportunity to co-teach a chemistry class. And, just with that experience growing up and the experience co-teaching the chemistry class, I saw that the formula charts that we use in there is really the way to simplify things, right? So really you just plug in what you need and then you get the answers in a simple way. And I needed all of that, right? And so, I started taking notes once I was doing that chemistry class, like, man, some of these things can apply to life. Like we can use these in our life to help us be better and successful in life. And so, that's where the formula chart for life comes from. And basically it's just formulas that will help one be successful in all areas of their life. And, really it's like no written, it's like all really formulas. And so just definitions of success and just different things in there. And so there's the information there on the screen. Feel free to check it out. And again, I hope that you guys can check it out and enjoy. So next, we have my good friend Tammy, and I'm just gonna warn you that this is good. Oh wait, that's the title of her book. Got the little But Tammy is a co-host here with me. Great lady, mental performance, doing some awesome things. And so Tammy, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Chip. Yes. This is good. This is good. We're all here today.
Awesome.
I wanted to start off by saying I'm going to give a free book away to the best retweet on any information that you hear today. So if something grabs you that one of the authors says, if you'll retweet it and tag me on it, then I'm going to give away a free book to the best one. So I want to start off with a story. And I know if you've heard me speak before, you've heard the This Is Good story. It's an African folktale. But I'm going to say it again. And hopefully, I know every time I repeat it, it makes it stronger for me. So if you have heard it before, I hope it encourages you to open your heart and mind even more to start thinking this is good. This is good, though. It was, a king in Africa had his best friend that he kept around him no matter where he went or what he did. because the best friend would always say, this is good. It could be the worst day possible, and the best friend would remind him. So they go hunting one day, and they're captured by a band of cannibals. Well, I got, fast forward. This is good. I made a mistake. See, it's all right to make mistakes here. So they're hunting, and the best friend loads the king's rifle for him, and it backfires and blows the king's thumb off. So the king is irate and throws his best friend in jail. All the way to jail, the best friend was like, this is good. This is good. He's in jail for 1.5 years. Every day he's saying, this is good. People in jail are like, you're an idiot. This isn't good. You're in jail. Nope, this is good. So in the meantime, the king goes out on another hunting party, and now they're captured by the band of cannibals. Well, the cannibals are going to kill them and eat them one by one. But they were very superstitious and did not believe in killing or eating anything that wasn't whole. So they saw the king's finger and they let him go. So the king's like, oh my gosh, my best friend saved my life. So he sprints back to jail, gets down on his knees and begs for forgiveness. Please, 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 please forgive me. The best friend, of course, says, this is good. The king is like, I know it was good for me. You saved my life, but I've wasted 1.5 years of your life. And the best friend was like, no, this was good for me as well. For had I not been in jail, I would have been with you. Now, that's a little dramatic, hopefully, with what we have to deal with on a daily basis. But I want to help with this book, help us all when we're going through times of uncertainty like we are right now, or dealing with adversity. How can we cultivate the this is good mindset? So regardless of what happens, we can keep our minds alive to find what is good in the moment. And the more that we can do that, then the more adversity is going to be our best friend and allow us to grow, accomplish, be happy, be successful in whatever area it is. So the whole purpose of this book, it's a journey that I spent with a college team I work with. But we talk about how to cultivate that this is good and different ways. I even have a formula, jumping in on Chip's formula ideas there, but a formula on how we can overcome adversity. So I think I didn't mean for it to come out in COVID, but it's kind of a good timing for this is good. So I challenge everybody to find the good in everything that happens today.
All right. Thank you so much, Tammy, for sharing.
Want to give away this free calendar too, something I do each month. You can sign up for it on my email or my website. Send me an email and I'll send it to you actually. But want to just help everybody. It's what you say, do, and think every day that makes a difference. All right. Sorry, Chip.
Oh, no worries. No worries. All right. So our next person that's up, I wish I had a drum roll for this guy. But great guy, fellow John Gordon, certified trainer, doing some amazing things. My guy, Mr. Thomas Williams, and his book is The Relentless Pursuit of Greatness. So you're up, my man.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. It's awesome. It's awesome. Thank you both, Chip and Tammy, for allowing me this opportunity to share in a time where we're adapting and adjusting, to how can we give our gifts away to people, even though we might not be able to see them in person is a blessing. The relentless pursuit of greatness, man, is for me, the mindset and the mantra I believe all athletes have. And so taking you back to 2012, I retired from the NFL and I spent 27 years of my life pursuing a dream. And I went to a Dodgers game. It's funny, Chip, you're talking about relationships, and that's the speed of our lives and how they move with the relationships. And I went to a Dodger game here in LA with an alumni from USC. And about halfway through the game, we walked up from our seats to the concession stands to grab a hot dog and a beverage. And he looked at me and he said, "What are you going to do with the rest of your life?" And I said, "To be honest with you, Pete, I don't know what I'm going to do." He said, "Well, why don't you get yourself a nice looking suit and come down to Merrill Lynch and I'll see if I can get you a job." And I said, "Well, first off, what makes you think I don't have a nice looking suit already? What have I done to give you this opinion that I can't dress?" And he said, "And I'll see about getting you a job." And I said, "Pete, I don't know anything about money." I said, "I know how to make it and I know how to spend it." He said to me, "Thomas, don't worry about it. I can teach you everything you need to know about money. But what I can't teach you is I can't teach you the innate skills and abilities that you learn inside of sports." And I thought at that moment, wow, wow, you think I have something? Here it was that I transitioned from something I thought I was destined and purposed to do for the whole entire life, which is play sports. But here I have these skill sets. And so as I started to transition myself personally away from professional sports, I was able to see that as athletes, we have these great transferable skills that corporations and so many people in the world pay tens of thousands of dollars to train their employees on. So I said, as athletes, we have these playbooks for our sport, on the field, on the court, whatever it is. We have these workout manuals for in the training room, in the gym, how to get faster, stronger. And we also have these core syllabus for class. But nobody gives us a playbook for the rest of our lives. I mean, I spent 27 years being an athlete, and hopefully, God willing, I'll spend the next 60 or 70 years being a human being. So I'm actually going to spend more time being a person than I ever was a player. And so the relentless pursuit of greatness is not for the 1% who play professional sports and not for the 99% who don't, but it's for the 100% of athletes who will retire. And so many of us think that we're only supposed to accept greatness playing our sport, but then we're supposed to be mediocre in life. And so the relentless pursuit of greatness is your playbook for the transition that you will have for the rest of your life. And so many people focus on the transition when they're done playing sports, but you can actually focus on the transition while you're playing sports, because understanding that you don't have to wait for the journey to end, you can actually make sure that you take the proper precautionary steps. On internships, identifying what do you want to do before you get done playing, time management, leadership, mentorship, resume building. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So the relentless pursuit of greatness is your playbook. Each chapter in the book is on a different theme. And at the end of the chapter, you get a chance to fill out specific questions pertaining to you to help you with your transition. And remember that I tell all my athletes that I work with, the greatness is in you, not in your jersey. So remember that.
Man, that's awesome. Great stuff, Thomas, man. Just hearing you talk about that, it makes me think about, you said transferable skills.
Yeah.
Those are disciplines that we all learn, like you said, growing through that. But really, we can take that and help us be successful in all phases of our life if our perspective is in the right place.
There it is.
Right. And that's what it's about. So, man, again, thank you so much for hopping on. All right. Our next author is Batuli Kamara, former UConn basketball player, great lady, has an organization that gives back. So excited to have her on. And I know she was hopping on and off because she was doing some things. But Batuli, are you on with us? You there? Hello.
Is that okay? Can everyone hear me? Is there a delay?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, it's good.
You're good. You're up.
Awesome. So my name is Batuli Kamara, 2-month graduate from the University of Connecticut, where I have my master's degree in sport management with a focus on sport for development. I'm a New York native, first generation Guinean, and I absolutely love playing basketball. I started playing basketball at the age of 12 years old, and it completely transformed my life. I would say up until that moment, my reality and my dreams were to be an incredible mom and an incredible wife. And I think those are still two huge accomplishments, but sports really opened up the door for me to really dream beyond the scope of my reality. And so that has been my motto continuously: dream beyond the scope of your reality. And I started a nonprofit back in my junior year of college called Women and Kids Empowerment Wake, which works to empower, educate, and equip young girls through basketball training, education, and social entrepreneurship skills. And that was a mission that I think took me on. I never consider it as something as giving back, but it's always giving in. What I'm here to do and continue to pass the torch. And the first question one of my mentors asked me was, Batuli, how do you continue to fight for change you may never see happen? Do you get up and do you go for it? Are you willing to fight for change you may never see happen? And how do you still leave your mark on this world knowing that you're continuing to pass the torch? And that question really, really bothered me. And I was like, what can I do? And am I willing to step into this battle and this fight, that is so meaningful to me and is a part of me. And that's kind of how Women and Kids Empowerment started, my token to the world. And a year ago, this book kind of came into my heart after my travels. So with Women and Kids Empowerment, we've been able to travel to France, to Guinea and to India to do programming and workshops. And I love pickup basketball. Again, I'm a New York native. And as I'm playing pickup basketball, you talk about basketball as a universal language and there's no barrier. I started to see who had access to basketball and who didn't. How sport was a privilege to some to have access, opportunities, and resources to play a game that I love and that transformed my life. And through that, I started to think about a world, what would a perfect world look like to me? And it was beautiful girls with unique abilities, diverse backgrounds coming together for a pickup game just for the essence to win. I played 4 years at the University of Connecticut, and it was about competing. And something that I was truly inspired by was every single one of my teammates was fighting for something. And it stemmed back to when they were younger. So I was like, is it the chicken or the egg? Where do you start from? And I realized we continue to preach diversity to our kids, but how many books do we give to them? How many opportunities do we allow for them to explore, to ask questions, ask tough questions? And that was this book. Beautiful girls with unique abilities, diverse backgrounds coming together for a pickup game, but there was so much more. And I wanted there to be empty spaces in this book. And so I'm thankful that people now read the book, A Basketball Game on Wake Street, and ask me, what about this girl? What about that girl? And I'm like, that's the space for you to fill. That's the place for you to fill. I won't get it all, but I hope this just sparks a thought in your mind to continue the legacy, to continue the stories, to give voices to those who may not have any. So that book is a piece of my heart. It's a vulnerable space to be in, to have a world where I may not see happen, but I really believe it's possible to put that up on paper and to allow kids to dream of a world that I think is truly possible. So that's a basketball game on Wake Street. So much more than I can put into words. It continues to change as I grow throughout my career. Still navigating, still playing the game I love, now at a professional level. So it's so exciting for me to continue to say, this is it. So on the first page of the book, I always say to everyone, what you're fighting for is necessary, it's important, and you have everything you need to win. So continue to win. And we're translating in Spanish and French, so I'm super excited about that. But thank you so much for this time, for this platform, for those to share their piece of their heart and their narratives of these books, because it takes a lot of work. So thank you so much. He's on mute.
You're on mute, dude.
It seemed really compelling. I was like,
oh, yeah, that's good. Hey, you were feeling it and couldn't even hear it, right? Yeah, man, that's awesome, Batuli. Thanks so much for sharing your heart, sharing your passion, and from your story is amazing. Truly, truly amazing. So glad that you were able to hop on with us today. So keep doing your thing. And I know you'll be on with us for a little bit, but you have some other things. But again, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
All right. So our next author that's up is Mr. Chaz Jackson, great inspirational guy, youth motivator, speaker, author. And he'll be talking to us about live, learn, and lead powerfully. So Chaz, you're up, my man.
I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your eyes and your ears. Author of Live, Learn, Lead Powerfully, a teen leadership guide. I especially just want to take the time to thank Tammy and Chip for giving me this opportunity and gracing me with this whole concept for being on here with you guys. I truly appreciate it. And also, I just want to just say in ahead of times, apologies. I will have to jump off here after I finish talking with you because I have a client. But I do look forward to Chip uploading that replay. I'm definitely going to listen to each and every one of you and love to continue to build a relationship outside of this tour. But Live, Learn, Lead Powerfully. Let's talk about this book. I truly believe with all of my heart that it's strategically designed to align anyone's mind towards greatness. But the target audience is teens. And I just want to talk briefly about some moments of impact that brought me to writing this book, and also take a journey of a challenge, a daily challenge that I challenge myself daily. I also want to challenge you and the other viewers of this talk. But in May of 2012, my life was changed forever. I was inches away from a head-on collision, potentially killing myself and the other individual behind the vehicle of my girlfriend's car. I remember turning the wheel to the right and crashing into a gate. police was called. I was arrested on site. I was driving intoxicated. And building up to that scene, there was a ton of emotional baggage that Chaz was carrying to get to that moment. And me looking back at 2012, that emotional baggage caused me not to build those authentic relationships or the things that was good in my life. I was finding myself self-sabotaging, if that makes sense. And some of the things that was in sabotage is my relationship with my girlfriend. I was on the verge of losing her, losing my job, my home. I had lost my car and my license due to driving while under the influence and struggling with alcohol abuse. So there's a lot of things that was just kind of going on and brought me to that moment. And another moment of impact based off of that moment was a conversation I had with my girlfriend, the woman that I was losing at the time. And she was talking to my lawyer, and he recommended her to leave me because the road that I was going down and the things that and mistakes that I was doing, he told her that I will spend the rest of my life going in and out of jail. And I asked her a question. I said, Amy, that's her name. Amy's now my wife at this time, but I asked her a question. I said, why are you with me? And guys, what she told me helped change that sabotage mentality, that emotional baggage carrying mentality. She told me this. She said, I see something in you, Chaz, that you don't see in yourself. And that really hit to the core. I was at a low bottom state, but that was something that I needed to hear at the time. And I went on this journey to change a lot of what was going on. And I go into more detail and Live, Learn, Lead powerfully about some of the steps building up to that even more detailed. But I continue what my mentor, Rodney Allgood, calls. He says, you know, to gain greatness, you have to go on a season of obsessiveness. And obviously things wasn't easy coming out of what she told me, but I found myself in jail and rehab and carrying and going, taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But I went on that season of obsessiveness, getting around good people, building an authentic relationship, me being a man of faith myself, adopting, you know, Jesus Christ's values, interests, and principles to my life, getting around good coaches and trainers, workshops. This really filling my mind with the opposite of what Chaz Jackson was doing as far as, you know, opening up and sharing what was really going on. And fast forward into 2019, when this book was published, in the midst of writing the book, gaining all of this knowledge, going on this season of obsessiveness that I'm talking about, it was like a forest in my mind of information. And I had met Dr. Darrell White Johnson at the time, and she helped me create a garden with the information that I was using to overcome the adversity I was going through and what was helping me become successful in this time. And I created that garden with Live, Learn, and Lead Powerfully. And I'll tell you guys, it still seems like a dream sitting here with you saying that, hey, I wrote a book, you know, but I broke some psychological chains because in my family, I'm the only author in my family, but I know this next generation, there's going to be even more authors because definitely has set that standard and I'm promoting that standard. And God has done some amazing things in my life. He took me back to school to get a degree in applied science, to be certified in physical therapy and speaker and coach, and being able to influence amazing people along the way. And I just want to challenge each and every one of you to take the daily challenge with me, that the challenge that I have in this book is to become a passionate visionary who is determined to leave a legacy for themselves by adopting unwavering life values and serving others in the area of gifting led by God. And I'm so blessed to be at each and every one of you presents. Definitely, if you resonate with that at all, on my website, chazjacksonspeech.org, there is a link on there where you can go and read the introduction to this book. It'll go in a little bit more detail about the mission of this book and a little bit more of my story and what I'm striving to achieve as far as the readers goes with this book. But I thank each and every one of you for your time. And again, I look forward to connecting with you all.
All right. Thank you, Chaz. I took myself off of mute on that one. And I'll tell you, you guys a funny story about me being on mute. I put it on mute because I didn't want to I didn't want to hit y'all with the sound effects that I was giving. Like when I'm hearing all these people giving these amazing things about their books and their stories, I'm like, ooh, boom. So I had to put it on mute so you guys don't hear all of that. But I am putting it in the chat a little bit though. So just hang with me on that. So, hey, thanks, Chaz, so much, man, for sharing your process and vulnerability in your story, man. It's good stuff. So I wish you continued success, my man. Next, we have up Betsy Butterick, great lady, been blessed and fortunate to achieve some really neat things in sport, and that is using, the things that she's learned to give back to others. And so, so excited to have her on. And so, Betsy, you're up.
Thanks, Chip. And I know you put yourself on mute so that we wouldn't have to hear your sound effects. I personally love your sound effects. Nobody says boom. So the way you say boom, it just gets me hyped every time. Chip, Tammy, thank you so much for having us on. It's incredible for me to be around a group of authors because authors truly understand the power of the written word. And as a communications specialist with a background in sport, my passion is how do we use language to increase the quality of the student-athlete experience, to be more effective, not only as coaches, but as educators and as human beings. Every issue that we encounter in life, if you really break it down, you're going to find a component of it that's related to communication or miscommunication more specifically. So the work that I do with athletic departments and teams is taking a look at what's their language as a culture, as a program, and then helping them identify where they can make improvements in language so that they can be more effective with each other, so they can create stronger relationships. The buzzword most often associated with high-performing teams at any level, whether we're talking high school, college, professionals, that buzzword is always chemistry. Great teams, championship teams, successful teams have a certain chemistry, this element that seems magical, but is grounded and formed through connection. And at the heart of connection is communication. So for me, we start at that level of communication, and we can be intentional about our communication to connectively build those relationships that we know we need in order to create the chemistry that generates success. That's a great place to start. In service of that, I decided to create a digital course based off of my foundational workshop, which is championship communication. And the advice I was given from several folks was, you know what, Bets, this is your first digital course. Go small. Don't feel like you need to put everything in there. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds safe. And then as I started doing it, I was like, but what about this? But they need to know this. And so it ended up being much bigger than I anticipated. And like Tammy mentioned, she didn't intend to come out with this is good during a COVID landscape, but that's how it happened. And this course was released in January of this year. And I'm grateful that it was, because now is a time with so much uncertainty in the sporting landscape where communication has become more essential than ever before, especially at a distance. How do we connect with and communicate and support our student athletes, those people that are looking to us for leadership and development and guidance during this uncertainty? So Tammy, I'm going to try to share my screen. Okay. No, that's okay. It says I can't share the screen while another participant is sharing. That's okay. If you all go to the address at the bottom of the slide, so bit.ly/champcoachcom, short for Championship Coach Communication, that's going to take you to a screen that tells you all about the course. So the course it's just over 3.5 hours if you watched all the videos back to back to back. It's just over 100 videos. It comes with worksheets and resources to further your development. It's broken up into 12 modules, and it's self-paced. So you can stop and start at any time, and you have access to it for a full year from the first time that you log on. So it's meant to be individual coach development combined with resources that you can use and start applying to the work that you do with your student athletes, whether in person or virtual, starting today. In addition, a shout out, and Tammy, I apologize, I didn't tell you to put this on the slide, but if you go to YouTube and you search my name, Betsy Butterick, you're going to find there's 32, I believe now, 32 ACT videos, and ACT stands for Active Communication Technique. These are all short videos, roughly 2 minutes or less, that are designed to give anybody something they can do today to impact the way that they communicate and connect with other people. So if you're on this and you're watching this and you want to get better about communication, you can start today. You can start in 2 minutes. These are small actionable steps that you can take. But please check out the course. If it benefits you, I'm offering the course at a $200 discount through the end of July, because I know that budgets are strained and the future is uncertain. But one thing we know for sure is that improving our communication will benefit our student athletes. So thank you so much for your time. It's great to meet y'all. Batuli, I'm psyched to buy that book. I'm going to become a mom in about 7 months. And so I'm adding that to the library that we're building for our little baby. So thank you so much, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Betsy.
I'm going to jump in real quick because I got to give a boom. What was that, Batuli?
I would say thank you. If you just email me, I could definitely send you a signed copy or anything.
That would be amazing.
Yes,
thank
absolutely.
you. I appreciate
I'll just attach my email. Awesome.
I just want to add that I have listened to a lot of Betsy's stuff and heard her speak, and I learned something on communication every time I have a conversation with her. So she is the real deal.
Thank you, Tammy. I also want to piggyback on that and say the last time I told your story, This Is Good, was about 2 weeks ago. I said, there's a story that I got from a colleague of mine, Tami Matheny. It's called This Is Good. And I did the exact same thing that you did, where I started telling about the cannibals before. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the only time I've ever done it. But I saw you do it. So you're in my mind. You've stained my brain. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, again, and I'm going to piggyback you, Tammy, just, same sentiments for me to hear Betsy. Every time I get an opportunity to hear her speak or be on something with her, I'm in awe by the greatness that she has and the way she communicates it. And I take notes and gain so much knowledge every opportunity that I get to listen to her. So again, thank you so much for your time, Betsy.
Thank you.
All right. So our next author is Dom Brightman, a great guy. A funny story about him, Tammy. Well, he's a really funny guy, really good dude, and he's the life of the party. And we were letting everybody in, and we were having some difficulties. And Tammy was like, "Hey, we can't let Dom in because he's gonna get everybody laughing." So, my man Dom, you're up. Thanks for being on.
Hey, thanks a bunch, Chip and Tammy. Appreciate the both of you. And it's great to be in good company with some fellow awesome human beings, because we're all in what I like to call the business of immortality, because the written word is something that'll last a long time, especially when you look at some of the best-selling books over the past century, the Bible being the top one of them, centuries on end. So it's great to be with fellow humans who took that step to actually put pen to paper and publish their work, and to inspire others to publish their work, because it's really one heck of a challenge. Because funny enough, I became an author on a dare. Funny enough, because I was giving all these motivational talks at Toastmasters, and funny enough, I did this activity where you write your own obituary, and for some strange reason, because I saw this other millennial who was a couple years older than me publishing a self-help book called You Are the Boss, I was like, this guy's writing the same stuff that I'm reading about. And he's only a couple of years older than me, so I could probably do that. And in my obituary, a couple of years later, I wrote I was going to be a best-selling author. And at this convention, I was handing out these reading lists called the 100 Books for Dynamic Living. And when the lady I gave the list to, she looked at the list, looked right back at me, and she asked where my book was at the time. And I was around a good 23. This was a few years ago. And I told her I'm not an author, and I'm not on that list. That's why I'm not on that list. And she's like, hey, why don't you write a book? Why don't we both write our books? Heck, let's both do it a year's time. Let's both publish our books. And mind you, this is after the obituary. And I was like, nope, not doing it. Not doing it. Because I didn't see myself fully as an author at that time, even though I did the activity of putting it in the obituary. But after some soul searching and having an accountability buddy who I told the story to, he was like, hey, this is a good time for you to write this book. And my first ever book, Going North, was published. And then this is the follow-up book called Stay the Course. And this book itself comes from a place of turning pain into power, because my father passed away after a long struggle with dementia 6 months after my first book was published. And this book was supposed to come 2 years after the first book. And dealing with a lot of lack of awareness really led to this, publishing of this book as a message to not only myself, but other people to stay the course. Because when you're trying to embrace your dreams and continuously push ahead and keep your foot on the pedal, you're going to have to be reminded to stay the course. And in this book, it's under 100 pages too, so you get to save time too. It gives you 7 magical keys along with the mystical bonus key, an 8th key that's hidden, that'll help you advance further and to stay focused on your dreams and your goals. And one of the keys is connection awareness. And being aware of those you're connecting with, having your metaphorical Wi-Fi signal open, connecting with others is why I'm here today with all you wonderful folks, especially Chip and Tammy, who gave me the opportunity. And that's just one of the major keys of what awaits in this book, because if you advance others, you get to advance yourself. And that happens because when you put people first on top of yourself and keeping yourself in mind of keeping your cup or your well full, then others will advance too. So let's all help each other to stay the best that we can be. All the details are on the screen, and also check out the Going North podcast that features authors all over the globe. Chip has been on it, Chaz has been on it, Tammy's coming up soon. And if you want to be on the podcast that's coming fall, let me know. All the contact is on the screen. So give that podcast a check out the book as well. And let's all grow together like the best trees ever.
Awesome, man. Good stuff, Dom. Thanks so much for taking the time to be on and share your story in your book. Thank you, my man.
Sweet.
All right. So our next author that's coming up is going over Stay Strong for Teams. And that is Molly Grisham. Let's get after it.
All right. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes.
So I am a former college soccer coach. I spent 20 years in athletics, thought that would be my career path forever. But 4 years ago, I resigned from college coaching. I hit a few years of really wrestling with the investment that I wanted to make in student athletes. And did I want to continue to invest in my 25 or 26 student athletes and feel really good about that? Or did I want to make a shift and essentially have a global audience? And I think one of the things I believe is that leadership is a gift, and it's something that's given to us, and it's something that we give to others. And I wanted to be intentional about how do I give that gift? How do I utilize that gift? And so made the decision 4 years ago to quit. I just walked into my AD's office and I quit. And she said, "Do you need 2 weeks?" I said, "No, I'll be done in 5 days." Which seemed like, in retrospect, was quite the risk. Maybe I should have had a little bit more of a plan in place, but it's worked out well for me. So I now work with teams and educators and corporate groups and nonprofits all over the country on things like leadership development and team building and culture. My training is all in experiential learning. So my processes are typically very hands-on, which is interesting right now with COVID. I can't be in the same room with the people that I'm working with. And so I've had to, again, rethink what is the work that I'm doing and how can I bring that to life, and have had some real fun creating experiential processes that we can use online. I've had some really powerful sessions with groups in the last couple of months. But one of the kind of partnerships, I guess, that came out of my decision to leave college coaching was with two names that should be familiar to you, Tami Matheny and Betsy Butterick. And so the three of us came together. I really brought the leadership component. Betsy brought a communication component. Tammy brought the mental skills component. And we thought, how can we take the work that each of us are doing with teams and with coaches, and where can we find some overlap, kind of that sweet spot where we can hit on something together? And so we launched Success for Teams. Our first product, I think, was mentioned on your last call, which was Start Strong. And so our second product is called Stay Strong. And it's really designed as a tool, a process that teams can go through together to work through different issues. And again, hitting on those three perspectives of leadership, communication, and mental skills. And so in this product, we really focus on adversity. And like Tammy said earlier, it wasn't by design, but this is a great time to talk about adversity with student athletes and coaches. I was on a call yesterday with an athletic director, and he was just asking, what do you think our coaches need? What do you think our students need during this time? And I said it was really twofold. One is they're going to need something to fill their time, because I think there are going to be a lot of teams that aren't playing their sport this year, unfortunately. And so there's an opportunity to utilize that time that you might be on the road or might be playing games to do some really intentional development of student athletes. But the other side of that story is I think student athletes are going to be really hungry for the skills they need to navigate the world that we're living in right now. And I have a few teams that I work with their student leaders every week. And so we've just been talking about the role they're going to play on their campuses as their campuses navigate COVID. And so it's a different type of adversity. I think when we originally started this project or this product, we were thinking about adversity in terms of games and overcoming things on the field or the court or on the track, whatever your sport context might be. But there's a different type of adversity that coaches and student athletes are facing right now. So this product will walk them through a couple different chapters focusing on adversity and connecting with their teammates and taking care of their bodies and playing different roles. There are stories, there's key points, there's discussion questions and self-reflection questions that they can utilize. So we are excited to add this to what we're offering. You can certainly start with Start Strong and move to Stay Strong, or you can start with Stay Strong. Either, you don't have to go in order there. Either will work. So we hope coaches and student athletes will utilize this product. You can find us at successforteams.com, and then again, on Twitter at Success for Teams. And certainly my personal information is mollygrisham.com. There's a lot of resources you can find there. And then you can find me on Twitter at Molly Grisham, and then on Instagram at molly.grisham. I would have to say I'm a little more addicted to Instagram right now, so I'm a little more prevalent there, but you can find me in all of those places. So I'd love to connect with any of you that are interested in the information that I just shared. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Molly. Good stuff. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. So our next author should be Ashton Henderson. And like I said, when we started, he had a late meeting call. So what I want to do is just tell you a little bit about him, and then we'll go on to Mary Fran. But Ashton, he's the Assistant Athletic Director of Student Development and Leadership at Florida State University. Great guy. Faith-based man, and he and his partner, they've written Beyond the Gridiron, how to successfully transition into collegiate football. And so, he uses that. He mentors student athletes every day. And so they've just taken what they've learned and put it into a book. And so, his information is there if you'd like to reach out to him and check him out. So that is Ashton Henderson. And now we'll go to our next author. Great lady. She is definitely brilliantly resilient. Oh wait, another one. No, great lady, man, just amazing. We've done some work together. Appeared on each other's podcasts often. We're usuals. But Mary Fran Bontempo, you're up.
Thank you so much for having me. So first of all, I want to tell you what the 15-Minute Master is not. It is not a time management book, because I have tried to manage my time. I cannot do it. So therefore, I'm not going to tell anyone else how to manage their time. However, the concept of time has always been an important one. And that point was driven home to me in a very powerful way on Mother's Day of 2010. We were celebrating at my mother's home with my family, my kids, and my brother and his family. And I had gone into another room when I heard a commotion coming from the living room. So I ran back in to find my son, who was in his early 20s at the time, sitting on the sofa and shaking uncontrollably. So we called the paramedics, and they kept asking him, "What did you take? What did you take?" And I didn't understand that question at the time. Now, let me just qualify all of this by saying that I knew something was going on with David, but I had no idea what. When they finally got him into the ambulance, he admitted that he had taken and overdosed on a pain medication that he had stolen in an attempt to get the high that he was ordinarily getting from heroin. So when we got to the hospital, the doctors told us that my son was a heroin addict. at that moment, time completely changes. Everything changes. The doctors also told us that if they could not reverse the effects of the medication that he had taken, he would need a liver transplant if he lived. So time suddenly becomes very important when your child's life is on the line. David, thank God, survived the overdose without needing a liver transplant. But that was just the beginning of our journey into what I've come to call the 10th circle of hell, which is life in addiction. Eventually, and this was a very long journey, David did go into treatment. But during that whole process, and he is well now, so I'll share that with you. He is well. He works in the recovery field. He's married. He has 3 beautiful kids. But during that period of time, everything that we thought we knew about ourselves, everything that I thought that I knew about myself was taken away. All of my power to live my life just disappeared because this constant horror of addiction had infused every part of our lives. So our friends, when they started to learn about what was going on with us, would say things to us like, well, you just have to take it one day at a time. And my husband and I would look at each other and go, what? One day? You can't do one day with an addict might as well be a million years. You do not do a whole day with an addict. We couldn't do a whole day. We couldn't do a half a day. We couldn't do an hour. We were down to 15 minutes at a time. And we found that by coping with life in those 15-minute chunks, that we could do. We could get through 15 minutes. And as things started to progress and David started to heal and we started to move forward, we realized that this 15-minute process that we were working through had kind of evolved into a system. And it was a system that when I really sat down and thought about it, it involved simple questions that were leading to one action step. So the 15-minute master, when I finally sat down and wrote it, and I always tell everybody, yeah, it's brilliant, but I didn't know what I was doing at the time. This was something that evolved through the process of my son's addiction. So the 15-minute master is a process whereby you sit down, you take 15 minutes, you ask yourself 3 very basic questions. What can I do in this circumstance? What should I do? Because just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. And what am I going to do? You take those 3 questions, you arrive at one single action step that you implement towards making the situation better. Not solved, not perfect, better. And you work the process over and over and over again until you reach some sort of a resolution, allowing for evolution in those moments when you are working through this process to see what variables are changing. So the 15-minute master is a process that we also learned once we were through the worst of my son's addiction that worked for everything. I still use it now. You use it in business, you use it in personal life. With whatever you're dealing with, what can I do? What should I do? What am I going to do? And those questions will also have mitigating factors like your resources, your knowledge, who's in your tribe, who can you collaborate with. But it is a doable process that, if worked consistently, can make everything better 15 minutes at a time. And the first person that reaches out to me through my email, maryfran@maryfranbontempo.com, I will happily send a signed copy of this. So thank you again, Chip and Tammy, for allowing me to share this. It was a rough road, but boy, did something good come out of it. And I think that's what we have to take out of all of our challenges and our crises. Create that silver lining and share it with others. So it's not just your pain, but becomes something more profound that you can share with the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary Fran, for sharing your journey and your story. And I think that should get a boom.
Okay. I love your booms. I tell you all the time, Chip. When I get a Chip boom, boy, does my day just goes, choom.
Let's go. I love it. Well, again, thank you. And our next author, Joel Rodriguez, and I'm not sure, I don't think that he was able to make it on, but he's considered the optimistic seeker. Another awesome human being with a really neat story, grew up in New York, was in the military, served, several tours, now government agent for a long time, Secret Service. And again, like we all have done, just taking the things that we've been blessed to achieve and grow through and use those to help others. So his book is The Keys to Greatness. And I just wanted to make sure I give a shout out to him. But that's the authors that we have today. And Tammy, I'll kick it over to you so we can do some closing things and we'll get you guys off and value your time.
All right. Again, thank everybody for joining us, whatever you had to add, and for our viewers. You can help authors. It doesn't mean you have to buy their book. And I saw this photo and I thought it's a great thing to share of how you can help support these amazing people that we were able to connect with. So here are some great ideas. I challenge everyone out there to do at least one of these today for everybody on here. And last but not least, we did have one last month. If you missed it, here is the link to catch it. Again, Chip and I are extremely blessed to have the people in the lives that we do and the relationships. None of us get to where we are alone. And I appreciate the support that many of you have played in my role. And I look forward to cultivating new relationships with some of you in the future. So again, I want to thank everybody for taking their time. And for listeners, reach out to these people. Again, some amazing human beings on here.
Thank you, Tammy. And, just in closing, words that I have, and I knew this before I got on here, but just in hearing the stories and the reasoning behind the books, it reminds me that there's a blessing in every lesson, right? A lot of times we go through things and, we just know that it's hard, right? It's tough, the things that we go through, but really, if we can just take a deep breath and just kind of have the proper perspective, get those positive perspective lenses on, if you will, and find those blessings, then when we get on the other side of it, we're equipped to help so many people. And that's what you guys are doing with your books. And I'm just, just like Tammy said, feel truly blessed and fortunate to be connected with you all. Wish you the best, just great people doing great things with great stuff. And really, Tammy, this is good. Right. And so, boom, let's go. No, but thanks for everybody again for joining on. And we hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Go get it.
Thanks, everybody.
All righty. Bye-bye.